someday. I'm wondering if each member will have such a defining moment where they declare Luffy's belief out loud in the face of adversity. So like, against all odds. You know, Zoro just lost to Mihawk, but despite that, he still declares that he is the swordsman that will be with Luffy when Luffy becomes king of the pirates. He won't lose another battle because Luffy, who will be the king of the pirates, he deserves the number one swordsman at his side, right? So that was his kind of defining moment declaration. And for me, this was Usopp's moment when they told him after this kind of fight that he literally was hanging by a thread in terms of his life, and that mole hag woman told him that Luffy is dead, and he just flat out did not believe it. There's no way Luffy could die here. He is meant to be the king of the pirates. And I was just wondering if it would be so cool if Nami and Sanji had a moment where they also, you know, declared their belief in Luffy to become the king of the pirates. Back while watching episode 24, I knew I already loved One Piece. I keep saying this and I will always say it. I knew that I loved One Piece since the moment Luffy said, and it is my Twitter bio quote, "It's not about possible or impossible, it's what I want to do." When he said that, I was like, sold. This is my show. It's just because that's like what has gotten me to where I am, you know, and I've had to keep saying that to myself, like, it's not about what other people say is possible or impossible for me. I want to do this, so I'm gonna do it. And I really related to that. So since then, I knew I was gonna love One Piece. If that is, you know, the character's introduction. I feel like character introductions are very important. The first thing a character does when you see them, the first thing they say, not like the very first words necessarily, but that is also part of, it's also very important. But like, you know, that the character introduction, I feel is very important. And I knew that if this is Luffy's character introduction, I was like, I'm gonna love this. So, but I already loved it from the start. I knew I was gonna love it. But now, not only do I freaking love One Piece, I am like 116 episodes in. I have built a relationship with these characters. At the start, you can love it and you can love the story, but are you attached to the characters? Like, have you built a relationship with them? By now, I can say that, yes, I have. Back then, it was more like, oh my gosh, I love this. But now it's like, oh my gosh, I love them. You know, and I know it sounds crazy, but that's how I feel. And I know compared to you guys, I mean, you've been with, most of you have been with these characters for like 900 episodes. So I can't imagine how you feel. I'm just trying to explain a little bit of what I feel. So when I went to find this scene on Crunchyroll so that I can make the GIF, I felt this sense of like goosebumps. And this scene was so much more profound for me now than I think it was back then. It was still good back then and I still loved seeing it, but now it makes a bigger impression on me. Even when the mole hag has Usopp by his feet and is on her way to drag him through another wall, Usopp's brave words, however shaky, are clearly heard. For a man, even if he's about to die, even if there's no way he can beat the enemy, and even after taking a 4-ton bat to the face, he gets up and his will remains strong. There is a time when a man will not run from a fight. That time is when his Nakama's dreams are laughed at. Like, that was a fucking awesome moment for me. And I know people were like, oh, he ran away, left Chopper to fight alone. Like, no, he never ran away and left Chopper to fight alone. He just said, there's no way we could beat them, let's run. Like, he expected Chopper to run with him. Like, he would never... Even remember in the Arlong Park arc, he almost like was gonna fake his... Like run away. Let's just call it run away for now. But then he started thinking about the other characters, and I remember saying, you can't measure yourself to them because they're like monsters. They're like superhuman. But he ended up defeating Chu back then. He didn't run. At the most critical moments, he does not run. But here he says, even though he's on the brink of death here. There comes a time when a man will not run from a fight, and that time is when his Nakama's dreams are laughed at. Honestly, this is one of the most epic One Piece moments for me up to now. Usopp's speech is amazing. This is definitely one of my favorite moments in One Piece so far. I love how the mole hag asks, what cheap trick did you pull this time? Because honestly, there is no way Usopp should still be alive at this point. But it was no cheap trick. It's his sheer will that keeps him going. Koza said he wants to get to the heart of the city to demand Cobra's surrender. Since Vivi is at the castle planning to blow it up, at least we know Koza will hopefully be on the way there and see what is going on at the right time. So I'm really hoping that I don't just want things I just don't want Crocodile to just be defeated and the country to resume its normal reign and rebuild itself slowly, blah, 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 blah. I want Cobra's name to be cleared. I want Koza to admit that he was wrong about the king. Really want that to happen. So I'm hoping that he is there when shit goes down and he sees that all of this was Crocodile's set up and that he was fooled by Crocodile. Really hope that happens. Okay. Episode 116. Transforming into Nami. Bon Cure's hard-hitting ballet Kenpo. I'm not going to lie, the Mr. 2 fight is not my favorite Sanji fight. Like, there was a scene, and I will show you later, that I thought like, oh, that's cool. And there were some funny moments for me. But, I don't know. It felt so like, I get that they were evenly matched, so it wasn't going to, I don't know. It wasn't going to be easy from the start, but he really, it was that easy. I guess people can argue that it's for the comedy, but once again, it just wasn't that funny for me personally. The whole, I can't kick you because you look like Nami thing. Personal opinion, obviously. Okay, so I have to say, I think it's almost impossible to guess someone's ability based on the first or initial reveal. Like with Buggy and Miss All Sunday, the reveal is only meant to intrigue us, but it's not really a reveal. For example, with Buggy, it looked like his hand was invisible or something, remember back in that episode? But it was really just that his hand split from his body. So his hand was on that person's throat, but they didn't show it so that we couldn't know the ability or something. Like, it really is a misdirection. It confuses me. So there's no way you could guess, because they made his hand, which was supposed to be there, split from his body. They made it invisible so that we couldn't guess. So it's like they really don't want us to guess the powers. A similar thing happened with Miss All Sunday. When we first saw her use her power, remember, it was also those hands, and it was done in a way that I don't think anyone could have guessed. It's really like a diversion, which obviously this isn't a critique or anything. It's just me making a comment. Like, that's how I think it is. So I'm not going to try in the future to guess Devil Fruit powers really based on the first time we see it, because I don't think it's meant to be guessed. With Mr. 1, we kind of saw him go through a wall, but I don't think anyone could have guessed that he sliced through it, because I don't remember. Do I remember the clash of knives? Was there? I need to go rewatch that episode. Suddenly I feel like, did I hear a clash of knives? I mean, swords? Like, you know how Zoro said he heard the swords? Oh, that would be pretty cool. And that would change my thought on this. But for now, conclusively, I just think I meant to say that I'm not going to try and guess abilities based on those first reveals, only because I don't think it's meant to be a hint as to what their powers are. It's more of a throw off. Like, it's supposed to kind of throw you off so that the actual reveal is like, oh, that's what he can do, which is good. It's fun. Zoro calling him a hollow tin soldier, that he hit the nail on the head. It was pretty savage. A mindless puppet lured here by nothing but the name of this ideal nation. I completely forgot that That's why they're following Crocodile at all, is a promise for this ideal nation. I completely forgot about that, but someone reminded me, and then I got reminded here again, and I was just like, is that really Crocodile's objective? He wants to make an ideal nation. What does that even mean? What's his concept of an ideal nation? I guess we'll find out more in the coming episodes. I mentioned in the video that if Mr. True can copy a person perfectly, even their voice, then does that mean he can use their devil fruit abilities while in their form too? At first I thought it would be possible, because even if he had their form and power, he wouldn't immediately know how to use it. Like when Luffy had just gotten his power as a kid, he was pretty much clueless on how to use it, and it kind of was like Shanks just picked him up or something, and like it was almost out of his control. Like it had to be honed by him. It feels. Crocodile said Devil Fruit's power can be trained to be very powerful, and we've even seen Luffy come up with new move ideas. How he can use his power, like to incorporate it in new styles and moves and stuff. So to me, it makes sense that even if he could use their power, he would not know how to. Mr. 2, I mean. But most people seem to think, well, at least a few of my patrons mentioned that they don't think he can do that because that would make his power too OP. I guess that is the simple answer. I don't know how devil fruits really work, so maybe there is some kind of devil fruit cells in their body that he cannot copy. Like, I don't know yet how a devil fruit works. So when you ingest it, it seems to take effect quite quickly. So is it like it somehow alters your body and gives you special cells? And although Mr. 2 can copy everything, even your voice, whatever, even your body without having seen it, like, you know, like Nami when he did this, and like he could copy stuff like that, and he only touched her face and he copied her whole physique, everything. That means that that's his power, but then his power can't copy the devil fruit, that whatever is in your body that gives you the devil fruit powers. And to me, I guess it's some kind of special cells that infuse that can't be copied by the mane fruit? Is it the copy fruit? This was my favorite part about the fight, them saying all the names in quick succession of each other and being pretty much evenly matched in terms of skill. So it was like, and it was just this cool kind of, it was very cool with their long legs kicking each other. Like, I never tried to say the fight didn't look cool. I just meant that his weakness was, like, for me, Usopp's fights are funny too, but it's because Usopp is funny. His weakness is actual weakness, you know? Sanji's weakness was he can't hit a girl, even though people are hard. That moment, I was like, oh! And then people are hard, but then, you know. So I understand that there's things that are for comedic effect, but I don't think, you know, Oda would do something just to be funny. So it's still part of the story. Like, I still consider it as part of the story. The same with, you know, Nami's money hungry, greedy, whatever, and that's often used in a comedic way, but I don't just write it off as, well, it's just funny, I shouldn't take it seriously, you know? So for me, this was just like kind of, it's his weakness, and it's funny, but maybe it was just a way to prolong the fight, I guess, in an entertaining way. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, obviously. Not a critique, just saying, for me, it wasn't the funniest thing ever. But it was funny. It was entertaining. Sorry. Since the anime turned out this way, Usopp and Chopper versus Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas. Sanji versus Mr. 2 and Zoro versus Mr. 1. Does that mean the anime is subtly trying to tell us Zoro is stronger than Sanji? I'm joking. So I didn't say that in the reaction because I wanted less people to see this. Because in a way I'm joking because Nami will be fighting with Doublefinger soon, since in this episode she said, I'll handle the girl. So obviously it's not, they're paired up with their level of whatever level they're at. But I'm just curious. Wait, let me read what I wrote. I'm not going to lie, I am quite curious to see a fight between Sanji and Zoro for real. I wonder who would win. But obviously I don't really want to see them fight. I don't want a repeat of what happened at Whiskey Peak. But I still believe that's part of why that was written at all. Is because you'd be curious, like, these two different types of fighters, both so strong, who would win, you know? And it has a lot to do with, like you can't just make them fight, because if they're just fighting, sparring with a friend, like, that's not a serious fight. That's why back in Whiskey Peak, they had to have a serious fight. Otherwise, it doesn't really mean anything, because then whoever wins, you can say about the other person, if they were being serious, then they would beat them, blah, blah, blah. But I know that power levels and fighting isn't, for many people, the main part of One Piece, but it's still a part of it, of course. And it's still an entertaining part for me to think, like, who's the strongest? If that person fought that person, who would win? Because sometimes the matchup is bad. Like, you might be very strong and win against that person. Okay, let's say here are 3 people, okay? So you might beat this person, and this person might beat this person. But maybe if you're matched up, not like your power doesn't match, like you're stronger, you beat that person and that person beat that person, but maybe you wouldn't beat them because their power somehow works well against yours. So even though you're stronger than them technically because you defeated them and they defeated them, they defeat you because of the power matchup. So it's so interesting to think of all these characters and who fights who and what would happen if that one fought that one and who's stronger, and I can imagine how it could be very fun debating these things. Okay, so tonight, Tuesday, the 17th of September, I will be recording for patrons episode 117, 118, and 119. It usually takes me, because I have other stuff that I do as well, it takes me about a day to edit one episode and do my notes. So that's 1 to 3 days. And then on the 3rd day, I record my notes. And then okay, 117, 118, 119. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then on Friday night, I'll record my reaction, my review, my notes. And then I'll edit it in and upload on the Saturday. So that's how that's the time how I do that. So it should be up by Saturday. If anything happens, life stuff gets in the way, which usually it's not a problem, but you never know. I'm just saying, it should be up by Saturday or at the latest Sunday. Okay. I will see you guys then. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching these episodes with me and listening to my review. See you next time. Bye!